Seconds before you're live.
I have a sneeze. It just will not come out.
There is one.
He was here the whole
He was
time.
there all the time.
Waiting for him to
I
appear.
knew it. I knew it.
I know. That's why I ain't say nothing, Jay.
I heard his voice. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I heard it. Erroneous Liechtenstein. Okay. All right.
What a group we got here tonight. Hello, everyone. You're welcome to Agape Theater Projects Theater Talk Live. Tonight, I'm going solo. Michelle is away, and she'll be back next week. But we have the cast and director of The Dance on Widows Row by Samm-Art Williams. And to my left on my screen is Jackie, and then Josh on my right, and then Tara, the director, Robin, who's Miss Mag, and Pam, the lecturer, Pam Bond, and my brother from another mother, Ward Isler. And helping out tonight is Lauren from RDU on stage. And welcome all of y'all to Theater Talk Live. How y'all doing?
Good. I'm doing great.
Doing well, as can be expected.
Great.
Well, first I would like to give the audience a little background on Samm-Art Williams, and who is the playwright for this play. He's a renowned actor, director, producer, and playwright. He's a graduate of Morgan State University. He studied with the Negro Ensemble Company and also with the Freedom Theater. He has written plays such as Home, Eyes on America, Woman from the Town, also The Dance on Widows Row, and My Father's House, and The Waiting Room, which was a really great play. I thought about doing that play myself. Also, Mr. Williams has appeared in film and television. Yes, he was in Miami Vice. He was in Women of Brewster Place. He appeared in 227, and also on Fresh Prince. He also produced TV shows like Cagney and Lacey, Frank's Place, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Martin. And he also wrote for television, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and Martin. And he was also on the faculty, let me admit, he also was on the faculty at North Carolina Central University, and for a brief time, and he was beginning playwriting and writing. I asked him when I met him about a few words of bro, and he said, and this is a quote from Sam: "If you die after the party on Widows Row, whether you're headed for heaven or hell, at least you'll have a full stomach." So, Ms. Hodge, how you doing? And what did you think when you first read this play?
Well, I'm doing great, Mr. Hinton. First, I had the pleasure of taking playwriting with Mr. Samm-Art Williams, and he's just like an amazing guy, and I just admire all his work. So just knowing that he was the playwright, so I was really looking forward to reading the play. And after I read the play, I was just like, oh, this is a comedy. This is funny. This is like all for laughs. And it's just like one thing after the next. And I was like, okay, this is going to be fun, like staging, and like the audience will come and it'll be a feel good show.
And when you had to look at casting the show, these beautiful people you have around you, how did you ever pull this cast together?
Well, I mean, with your help too, you know, I'm lucky. I'm always lucky as a director to get like the perfect ensemble. And this is truly an ensemble piece, and everybody is so talented, and everybody just, you know, bobbed off each other's energy. Because with comedy, I direct a lot of like dramatic type work, but with comedy, you have to have comedic timing, and people have to know when to say their lines and for the jokes to land. And this cast just did an amazing job at doing that. And yeah, I can say a lot about, I think I personally worked with everybody that's in the show. So it was hands down an easy process when it came to working with these guys.
And you know something, what really is good when you generate a family, you know, when you have that family atmosphere where everybody loves working with everybody. And I saw this in your direction with this cast.
Oh yes, yes. Because they yes, we created this family, and everybody had so much creative input to make things work, and that's I think that was like a really positive thing to make the show gel and like come together. And a lot of time we were just having fun. We were having fun on, and if you came and saw the show as the shows progress, you probably see that we were having fun on stage, and then it was a fun experience.
And you know, the audience just went crazy. They were, when I look at the video, they just go crazy. And I'm gonna start with Mag. I'm gonna start with you, Robin. What did you do? What did you do when you looked at this role? And you know, because I didn't see you as Mag when I first, you pulled it off. What did you think?
Oh man, I was like, why did I say yes to this? Why? Too much for me. And I had never really done comedy before. I'm all about drama, dramatic works and all of that stuff. So I saw it and I'm like, okay, this is a challenge, but maybe they think I can do this. I don't think I can, but I'm gonna try. But when I went through and I'm highlighting all my lines and I'm looking over but really I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot. Especially being that I was also doing another show. Not in a show, but producing another show. Same time. So I'm like, how can I do this thing? And then I thought about it. I'm like, first of all, I got into acting and theater because I wanted to be on the stage, not necessarily to do the other stuff. That came later. So I'm like, let me do this. Let me just, And then when I got into rehearsal and had an opportunity to meet everybody, and then the energy that was coming from everybody and the love and support, that made it easy. That made it so easy.
Okay, we'll get to everybody's background in a minute. I just want to go through and talk to you about your character. Jackie, Miss Sydney. Simone.
Yes. Okay, so Jackie, I really see you as Simone, and I'm like, oh gosh, she must be a horrible person. Because for some reason, I get these roles where I'm self-absorbed, person who thinks the world revolves around me. So when I read the script, what was funny is, as I read the script for the first time, I heard everybody's voices in it.
Right.
Oh my goodness. It was just amazing how I heard Juan in that role. And so for Simone, I just thought of my sister. I hope my sister's not watching.
You're in trouble now if she is.
Simone is my sister. That's my sister. So I was my sister that whole time. So I thought it was funny that when Mr. Hinton said to me, oh, this is so you, Jackie. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. You're not famous, Simmy.
I know. I love that role. You're not famous. And that's my sister. You're not famous.
Right. Pamela Bond.
Yes.
Miss Bond and I have been together so long, and she's not only a great actress, she's a great costumist who this show. But Pam brought her in at the last minute. Girlfriend picked her paper up and went with it. Okay. What's up, Pam?
Hi, Ken.
Well, now you know. So I was costuming this show,
Right.
and I've costumed this show several times.
Exactly.
So I knew, you know, what I wanted the show to look like, and
Right.
so I'm in that frame of mind of costuming this show when the Phyllis could not play Lois, and I had to come in and do Lois, but I have to admit she was so much fun. Oh my gosh, she was fun, and I had fun doing her. Yes, she could say all the things and do all the things that maybe I secretly might want to do or say. And so she gave me a chance to live that out on stage.
Yeah. I always like when you talk freak in the morning, freak in the evening.
That was the worst line of all. I hated that line in the show. And then the fact that I had to sing it. I hated that line. I hated that line.
But you told the audience.
Yeah.
And
but you knew the song to
Wallace. Miss A.O. Wallace.
Yes.
Miss Annie.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
So what did you do when you attacked this role? Because I when you were in rehearsal and then when you got on stage, it was like on now.
Right? Because okay, so I'm sure a lot of people may like in like Pamela and Robin and Tara, like and Jackie, when we would have rehearsals, Annie's voice changed like over and over again. And I kept saying, I can't find her voice. I don't know what she sounds like. I was like, who is this woman? And so it took me some time. And actually, like, honestly, right? Like it was like when we first started getting on stage, like I don't know being in the theater or what it was, but that's when I was like, oh, this is what she sounds like. And this is what her motive is. And this is what she's doing. So I finally got her voice. And, you know, I was looking at the playback of it. And if I ever did it again, I probably wouldn't use that same voice.
No, it was good.
It was the most memorable. It was
memorable. You know, when you said, Lois, send me, and he talking about, you my homie. That killed me every time you did that, and the audience just went crazy.
That is one of my favorite
lines. To the gentleman. Let's go with the deacon. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm fine. You played a deacon before or pastor?
So apparently that's my calling, and I just haven't walked into it yet because I'm always cast as some spiritual person for some reason. But I actually had just worked with Agape in the Amen Corner where I played
Amen Corner,
an elder of the church, I think. And then I got into this. I was like, you know what? I want to do this again. But like Robin, this is actually my very first comedy. Out of all of the years I've ever done a comedy. So I was like, well, let's try something different. And we got up there and it was one of the most spectacular things that's ever happened to me. It really, really was. And putting me with Juan was probably the biggest mistake and biggest joy to ever come from anything.
You two were like Lawn and Hardy.
Yeah. That worked out. And then being I think I was the youngest in the cast too.
Yeah.
And I probably was playing the oldest character. So there was a challenge there too. That paint that Pam gave me to grade my hair out was a struggle.
You know,
we worked it out.
When Mag said, and you can have anything you want.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite line. Get on over here. Come on over here. Yay.
And my main man, Juan, you took new heights. I've seen some newlies, but you took it to a new height. Go ahead, man.
Thank you, sir. Well, I've always wanted to be thought of as a serious thespian.
Oh, get out of here. You serious?
I started reading and I was like, "Ooh, I got one-liners in here." I'm like, I'm home. I do comedy. Didn't know I did comedy, but most everything I'm cast in is that way. So I was at home, and once I met the cast, I was like, okay, we're gonna have some fun with this. And then putting me with Josh, I was like, oh, Josh is gonna be my straight man. I get to play off of this one. And so our antics carried over backstage as well. So it made on stage like so much easier. It got to the point where it was like, I know I'm reciting lines, but Josh started feeling comfortable. Josh did something in the very beginning, but most memorable for me is when he said, "I need some things," and he shook his leg. That wasn't originally in there, but that
No.
he shook that leg. I was like, I want you to get you some things, and I shook mine. And so that chemistry was just like, wow, it was right there between he and I. So it made it so much easier for me working. No, we can't hear your fan, girl.
And we are recording. We are recording.
Working with him closely, but yeah, just definitely the whole cast.
And my man, Chris Bailey.
Hey, Chris.
I was Randolph in 2003, Raleigh Little Theater, got nominated for a Canty. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, come on now.
Not let us forget.
So he had some big shoes.
We
You know what I'm
wasn't in the
saying?
right theater, that's all. We weren't in the right theater. In the right theater.
And I had a purple suit on.
Oh gosh.
You had a blue one. All right, go ahead, my man.
Well, first the cast that we had was phenomenal. I mean, from the women down to the guys, it was phenomenal. I think the roughest part for me, and people talk about it all the time, the roughest part for me was playing Nate.
Yeah, me too.
Because at first I was like, oh, it's cool, I'll be able to sleep. But then, the whole thing of getting in position, because once you get in position, you can't move. So everything I had to do when I'm talking to Annie and all these different people, all that stuff is calculated because I'm scooting in the chair like, yeah, I'm just like that. Right there,
and Aya kept coming over there messing with you.
Yes, she did.
Because the dead man cannot snore. The dead man cannot snore.
Blanket and picking things. I said, this guy's gonna wake up.
I did catch myself a couple times snoring. And then the other time was I was trying to control my breathing because I didn't want the sheet to show that I was breathing and whatnot, but I'm like breathing real slow and trying to be real controlled and whatnot. It was difficult, but it was fun though. It was really fun. But I think for me the most memorable was all the antics that took place behind the stage, dealing with
they got him on tape.
Yeah, that dude. He's on my screen. He's on the square one.
Yeah, we know who we're talking about.
We know who we're talking about. Yeah, we know who he is.
Right, talking about Josh. Y'all talking about Josh?
Who? No. Okay, yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. But I mean, it was just the camaraderie. But no, I think for me the most memorable night was, what was the young lady's name that did Pam's role? The night that
Phyllis.
No, it was Stacey.
The other young lady.
Stacey.
That's right. Yes. I can't go one night.
Stacey. Was Stacey?
Yes.
Yes.
Listen. If there was any ad lib in that show,
right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a good night. That was Friday night. But that only added to as
comedy
because we was upstairs.
Y'all wrote another show,
right?
Yes. To do a show with
and we are recording. So how was it working with Tara? You guys, how was it working with Tara?
Tara's fun.
I mean,
to me, she's very creative. She allows you to kind of find your own element. One thing I do like is she doesn't tell you how to act. She actually ask you the questions for you to kind of find your own character. So
Right.
I love that about it because she reminds me a lot of my directors that I had back at home in Kentucky. They didn't really tell you what to do. They just kind of gave you stuff to think about so that you could kind of find your own voice and your own character. Hold on.
Anybody else?
Tara definitely. I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead,
think
Josh.
Tara definitely comes from a place of an actress as well. You can tell that she was an actress before she became a director. So she gives that opportunity to actors to let them make their own decisions and have those moments wherein she's not, nitpicking exactly what she wants herself, but she knows that there's a process for actors that they have to get there to deliver a performance that's worthwhile. And that's the direction that she gives.
Well, I have to mention she's my former student, and I have video of her on stage in Take a Nine Step. Remember?
He says that before every show too. That I'm.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, that's exactly
Claim
what
it,
I was
gotta
going to
claim
say
it.
is that I've had the pleasure of watching her from being a freshman student.
Yes.
And singing was her passion. And if she could get on stage and sing, that's what she would do. But I've had to watch her just grow as a student, grow as an actress, grow as a director. And it's just a pleasure to be under her tutelage now that, she's gotten all of her educational foundation and she's using it now. So it was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure. And she's a soror too, so that just made it even
and one of the most funny things for me is she like said, Mr. Henry, would you just go back in your office?
That was every rehearsal.
Leave this alone now.
Yes.
So I got this. You can go back. You can go.
She got this.
Tara and Mr. Hinton are like watching a father and daughter.
Oh.
They are so
Yeah.
We love working
hilarious
together.
because she's always, I got this, trying to shoo him away. And they have this back and forth that is.
Because I be looking at like, I don't know whether this gonna look like it's gonna work.
It's gonna work. I got it. They got it.
But Mr. Hinton is a micromanager anyway. At least he tries to be, but he can't actually get the whole micro thing going.
I come in and try to do costumes on her.
And Chris, if you would have got sick, child, he would have put on that purple suit.
He was waiting for it.
Yes, but you know what? We did this show in 2010, and it was with students, and they got it too. So this show is a really good show to entertain and make people laugh. And what's the most important thing is that each character has to take themselves seriously, right? Yeah. Portray that when y'all come out on stage and y'all are just serious, Newly is serious. He's like, I could tear this town up if I wanted to, right? So what are some of the memorable lines in this play? Each one of y'all, each character that you have. What's your line? Starting with Simi. Start with Simi.
Go to someone else.
My
favorite line. Go to someone else.
Watch it again.
I'm gonna think about this.
You gonna go with somebody else? Go ahead, Josh.
Okay. Wow. That means I have to remember my lines.
Yeah.
So there's a whole, I don't know the exact words, but there's the whole spiel that I have about men don't age
exactly.
That whole thing.
Men don't get grown until women get grown
40
when
or
they're 8.
Women are born 18 years old and men don't get grown to their 40, something like that.
40.
So that line always delivered pretty well. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Juan said earlier, that whole thing with the leg and shaking and I need some things. I specifically waited until like opening night to do that, just to see his reaction and the audience's reaction, and I loved it every time. But yeah, so those were two of my favorite lines if I had to pick some.
And in the video, Juan looks at you like, I don't believe he just did that.
Yeah.
But my favorite one for the Deacon, I think, is and look like you boys, like they got the short end of the stick.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what you
yeah,
say? Yeah.
yeah.
Mag?
I'm about like everybody else. I don't even remember my lines. I'm sitting here trying to figure out.
I tell you one that I like.
All right,
Is
tell me.
Yeah, tell us
when
this
you,
hit.
when you said that
What was
you
your
went
favorite
to,
lines?
that none of them got no social disease because you done went to the you done got a friend at the hospital and she done checked on all of them.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Cousin Dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cousin Dirty. Yes.
She work at the hospital.
Cousin Gertie.
She
Yeah.
work at the hospital. But yes. The only thing that I remember, again, being nervous about being on stage, but also being comfortable with this cast, and especially with Tara. Tara and I shared the stage way back sometime. Like back in, I'm trying to think, 2014, 13, 14. And so I was comfortable with her. So I felt like, you know what, if she believes I can do this, then I'm believing. But for a long time, it took me a while, because how can I find that comedic timing and knowing that I had to be on stage the entire time? It was like lines and all these lines, and I'm supposed to remember all these lines, So yeah. But again, the cast. There were times when I forgot my lines. Newly had to feed me some lines. Ada had to feed me. Let me tell you, the best save that I remember was when Ada, he came back in, like went outside and came back and did a whole scene that we missed, and it was flawless. Y'all remember that?
A whole scene.
Y'all remember that, lady?
That was in the first week. Yeah.
Oh man. So
Come on, let's go back in the house.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go to Aya. Annie, you had some lines, though.
I had too many. I'm like, what's the line that I gave to the deacon at the end of Act 1?
I want you.
No, do you have
No.
it's something about my vineyard.
Look,
yes.
My vineyards.
My vineyard.
Yeah. A Florida like something like that.
That was one of my favorites, because it was really hard to do, because Jay Madrice is my brother. So like, and the dress. Okay, I know everybody wants
the red dress.
The red dress. I just want everyone to know, and I've stated this in other shows on Zoom. The dress, my son told me I had to get rid of it. He was like, "That's the last show. That's the
you can't wear that dress no
dress. You ain't wearing that red."
You can donate it to the theater costume department.
Ooh,
That's
no,
right.
seriously, like he watched me put it in the bag and we gave it to Goodwill.
He was
like, fold it.
You would want to make sure that dress was gone, huh?
It's over.
It's over. But like having to have, I don't know if anybody knows the dress, but like my boobies are out and everything. And so like I'm having to literally shimmy and do this line. And it was so hard not to laugh. It was so hard not to laugh. That's on stage.
And being that I sewed that dress up numerous times.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah.
Juan,
Oh my.
what one of your favorite lines?
I'm sitting here thinking.
Wait, which ones? The real lines or his made up lines?
That's what I said.
Right. The lines that were in the play, Juan. The lines that were in the play.
Wow. Ooh, y'all just made it tougher.
Everybody like, yes. What line was that?
Every night.
I think
Every
probably when Simi asked me, was I coming back again, back over to the house again? And my response was, hell no, I ain't coming back. I'm never coming on this street as long as I live. That's my favorite one right there. I was like, I finally get to say Oprah Winfrey's line from The Color Purple. And would you like to watch Miss Millie's Children? Hell no. So, and it was written in the script. I was like, oh, an Oprah Winfrey line. So yeah, that's probably. So
Okay,
yeah.
Pam, and then Chris.
Oh, my favorite line. I can't say it's my favorite line because I had a lot of favorite lines, and it surely was not "I want a freak in the morning."
Right.
My favorite line was, oh, I had it too. What's your favorite line that Lois said?
So when you looked at Randolph and you said something about that it might be his last or something like that.
Yeah, you really pushed it, Randolph. Something like that.
I don't know, but my favorite reaction was, y'all don't even know if the man is dead. You know what? Don't give me the
Yeah.
Everybody was blaming
that right
Lois.
there. Yes, honey. Yes. I never fight, so that was my. I'm getting ready to fight. What? Yes, that was my line right there.
You know what, Pam? You scared me every night because I'm like, Pam is like, she means this thing. And I'm actually glad that Newly comes and get me because I'm like, I'm more afraid of what she's gonna do than what I'm gonna do to her.
Oh yes,
she's coming with it.
That
Pam is
Chris.
with it.
You know
Chris.
what? No.
I would have to say, I have a couple, but the one that I love was the one that toward Annie was like, "Damn it, if you ain't better make the mule come out of the old barn." That was
right.
Out of that, and especially the night that it kind of got skipped. Boy, I was hot. I'm like, yeah, that's my line.
Right.
You gotta learn how to put it back in somewhere.
I like the one when you said, "And if I die on the street."
Oh yeah, I'm dressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
But I have to admit though, I have to agree with Josh. When Pam would sit there and look at me, sometimes it was like for real. I was like, is she really mad at me for real? Some of the reactions was kind of serious. I was like, yo, I ain't gonna look at Pam, but she looked like she's really mad at me for something. Did I not put the costume on right? Did I mess up something?
Well, this audience didn't get to see Dancing with His Role. You missed a good show. We'll bring it back. But I want to go around the table and just let you know the type of talent that was pulled together for this show. Tell the audience a little bit about your backgrounds, starting with Chris.
Oh, wow. So my theater background, I was from the University of Louisville. I was in the African-American theater program. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I just started working with the Justice Theater Project and did a lot of shows with them, and then worked with NCT and Mojoy. So I work with a lot of theaters here locally, community theater, and since then I've been writing scripts, stage plays and movie scripts.
Okay, sounds good. Aya.
Oh God.
Scottsboro Boys, come on.
Yes. So I'm a bunhead. So I did ballet performance and training, classical ballet, forever. So I got into theater through the avenue of dance because I first danced with Justice Theater Project in Black Nativity when Baba Chuck was choreographing. And that's how I got into it. And then one day somebody, Deb said, do you want to do Celie for The Color Purple? So Tara and I shared that role. And that just kind of started the whole theater thing for me. So I have no theater training. But that's how things started.
Well, tell us about the when you were doing the Scottsboro Boys.
Oh, Scottsboro Boys. So I did Scottsboro Boys with Theater Raleigh, and that was, guys, Chris, I played like you. I had no lines until,
Hardest thing in the world, ain't it? Hardest thing in the world, ain't it?
Right.
so no lines the entire time until the very end. So I learned from you, Chris. Just being able to act and move. Again, that was a place where I could move and dance and show off my dance skills. And
Is Randolph dead again?
yes.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And Juan, you also a sound designer, okay? You help
Yes,
work
I
with
was.
this show and a lot of other shows, but a
Yes.
great actor too.
Thank you. I have, hey, our stage manager. I have,
Hey.
Wait, where's Eric? I don't see him. Oh man.
Okay.
I don't have a theater background. I have my degree is in music, but I feel like it's just the same because I was a voice major, and when I wasn't singing in English, I had to portray like I meant the song or whatever. You know, sometimes it was like, oh, I'm singing in German right now. I can't be sad. I got to get these words out. And got here, started doing theater in 2014. Was kind of tricked into it, and then met Aya at Color Purple. Well, I knew Aya before, but really got to know her at Color Purple, and she kind of pushed me to keep going because yeah, there were days when I'm tired. And then got into sound design in 2017 because of my music background, and you know, that's my story. But one thing I wanted to say, because you didn't ask us what our favorite line in the play was. My favorite is not a line for me. It's, and on my thing, Pam is right below me. It's when Pam said, when I said I'm getting out of here, and Pam turns her back to me and says, "You ain't left yet." Every night I had to come back to character. I was great for a split second, and I just give her this look like, what the heck? Oh. So yeah, so that's me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tara Hodge is the director, and tell us about your background.
Well, as you know, I received my formal education from the greatest university there is, North Carolina Central University, from the theater department, majored in theater ed. So yes, I've been performing ever since I was a child. You know, I was that, you know, the child that, you know, performed at the family functions. And so yes, I've done theater locally. My main job is, you know, like I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. So I teach middle school theater. I just finished my 10th year teaching. So I do a lot of theater instructing. I know, I'm getting old.
Has it been 10 years?
You've been
10
old.
years.
He's lying.
Wow.
So I do a lot of like children are a passion of mine. So I work a lot with the youth. So from theater camps and, you know, in teaching and children's theater. And just like Chris as well, I actually went to graduate school for film and TV production. So I also make movies, and, you know, I produced like 2 movies, and I'm going to work on a 3rd one soon. But yes, I love everything about entertaining, and I just love theater and what it can do for people and for children, and, you know, that's me.
I'm a proud dad, you know, right? But listen, I want y'all to know that we postponed the season this year, but Tara is going to direct Crowns for Agape, and we've got 2 dates. We're going to decide on either May of next year or August of next year. So we will be doing Crowns. And
let me add something too. I never really thought I was going to be a director, y'all. Like, I was the worst director at Central. Like, I was like, I perform. That's what I do. I didn't want to pick up, I didn't want to do like lighting, sound. I didn't want to do any of those things. And like my professors, you know, they made me do it because I needed the requirement to graduate. But I just remember from like working with children and like a lot of people here, I started back with the Justice Theater Project. And I remember I was encouraged. Deb was like, "You want to direct Raisin in the Sun?" And I was like, "I never worked with like adult actors. Are they gonna listen to me?" And like these are like some really heavy hitting actors. And
Right.
I was like, okay. And Sydney, we co-directed. I was like, okay, we can do this. We're gonna do it together. We can do it. Then from there, I've grown as a director and, you know, learned from a lot of people around me.
Well, since you are here and you can ready to leave, but I wanted to make sure we got in Eric, who was your stage manager. And that was another blessing because he came in, hit the ground running, and did a fantastic job of stage managing Dance on Widows Road. Eric, welcome to Theater Talk Live. We're just talking about the play, but give us a little bit about your background, where you from, because you're a great actor too. Now, Eric can act.
Well, is my mic on? Yes, it is.
Yes,
Thank
it on.
you for all those compliments, man. I do appreciate it. So, yeah, I was a stage manager. My background, I only started doing theater once I came to college. I never did it a day in my life before then, but I do attend the illustrious NCCU, Eagle Pride.
Eagle Pride.
And
I work
I
there.
am concentrating in both performance and technical theater. And so stage management, I've done it a few times. I think I've done it once since Dance on Widows Row. It's always a very challenging experience, but it's always great. It really pushes you further. And yeah, that's me.
Where are you
No,
from,
come
Eric?
on now. You gotta tell us
Boston.
about right.
Where are you from,
Come
Eric?
on now. He's got all these accolades for acting. Come on, what's the last play you were in at HBCU? Tell us the truth.
The last play I acted in was Best of Enemies. And
Best of Enemies, fantastic job. All those lines.
thank you. It was an amazing play. I still think about it pretty often. Oh man, that play really affected me along with the audience, man. That was probably the first time I did a play that every night people would come up to me. Some of them would still be crying and just telling me like how the play affected them. And like that blew me away. I did not expect my performance to do that to people.
Yeah, and Eric won't tell you, but he was in my arts and humanities class as a freshman, and he walked up to me, "How can I get into theater?"
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So the rest is history, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Josh, how you doing? And tell us your background.
Sure. I fell in love with acting and performing at a very, very early age, and I went to University of North Carolina at Greensboro. I would say more, but I'm outnumbered by these Eagles here, so I'm gonna let y'all have y'all shine. But UNCG is one of the best schools in North Carolina, where I majored in theater and got my bachelor's degree, and then I moved out here to Durham, where I've been doing theater and short film. I actually did a film with Aya. That's where I met her. Well, that's where we met each other after I told the director that I knew her for years. Right. So I lied both of our ways into a movie. So
lied your way into a movie. Okay.
Right. So hey, I'm an actor, so there we go. But yeah, so I've been here. I've been acting in the area probably since 2012. Did some tours with other companies as well. This is my second show with Agape. So yeah. Yes, sir. That's a little about me.
All right, Robin, you keep holding back. We got to talk about Majora now. All the work you've been doing behind the scenes as a producer.
Well, you know, it's where do you start, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I got into theater. I think a lot of us did as children, having to like Sunday school recite, you know, those the scripture and stuff like that. So yes,
Long paragraphs.
all love it, Easter Sunday. So
Jesus.
started there, but when I was in high school, I would dance in all the shows because I wanted to be a dancer. That's all I wanted to do. So my senior year, my teacher asked me to be a lead in a show. So I'm like, I just want to dance. Can I still dance? She said, well, no. So I tried it and I liked it. So anyway, years later, I put it down. Years later, went to school for what? I got my associates in technical theater, the bachelor's in acting, and the MFA in playwriting. Um, and I did it like that because I became pregnant with my youngest son, and I was in bed laid up like with my feet at a 45-degree angle for 5 months. And so during that time, it was as if God was like giving me words to a play. So I started writing down this play. And so after that, and got it produced and everything, but I made a lot of mistakes doing it. So my husband said, you know what? If this is something God really wants you to do, you need to go back to school. So then he insisted that I go back to school, and that's how that started. That's how,
Okay.
and so I write plays. Yes, that's something I do. But executive director for Mojoa, for Performing Arts Company. We do a lot of shows written by and for people of color.
Right.
Just trying to give a space for living playwrights and actors.
Right. So we're going to be working together. I'm going to put that
Yes,
out there in you speak
Yes.
it, it's going to happen.
It's gonna
Majoa and Agape are
It's
going
gonna
to work together.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, Escape to Freedom is just, if anybody in the audience never seen it, when it comes back, you need to go to see Escape to Freedom. It is an experience. I'm gonna go to Pam, then I'm gonna go to Jackie. Pam, Sister Moore.
Yes,
She did Sister Moore for me in Amen Corner, y'all. I mean, we know we did Amen Corner, but way back. Go ahead, Pam.
Yes. Okay, so my formal training is from North Carolina Central University, and my undergraduate degree was in theater. I was a technical theater major, had no idea what I wanted to do with it. All I knew was I was more of a behind the scenes person. So I did light design, I did sound design, I did all of that stuff, everything except costume design. So I thought I would be a light designer, and then I had babies. So then I became a customer service rep. How can I help you? So I acted. I was a wonderful customer service rep. I got like customer service rep of the year several times because I was acting. And so after about 9 years of acting as a customer service rep, I decided I was going to go back to school, and I did clothing and textiles. And so that's how I put the two together and came up with the doing costume designs. And I absolutely love doing that.
Excellent.
Given the opportunity to do it for several theater companies in the area. And every now and then, yes, every now and then I get the itch and I want to get on stage. So, acting to me is like ministry. So I have to make sure that the role that I am taking on, that it finds me. I think that's what happens with me, is that when there is something that I need to get out or something that I need to manifest, the role finds me and I get whatever it is that ministry that I need to get out, I get it out then. So so between the costume designing and the acting, theater is my life. I've raised my kids in the theater. They've gone on to, do some wonderful things in theater. So that's where I'm at. And I have like 4 years before I retire. And then I'm gonna go to Hollywood.
Come on now.
Okay.
Come on now.
Me and Pam go back so far. We even been on stage together. And
Oh yes.
5 in Wise One.
And ask him if he remember his lines.
Yeah.
And Pam, I said Scottsboro Boys, but it was Bud Not Buddy for Theater Rock.
Bud Not Buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Sure did.
Jackie, Sister Moore.
Oh, yes. Another
Sister
Sister Moore.
Yeah, both y'all play Sister
Yes,
Moore.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am not formally trained in acting. My degree is in health science from Towson University, Maryland. So I'm the only person that's not North Carolina. But so I've been in the pharmaceutical industry. I own my own daycare. I raise kids, and I've always wanted to act. And while I was at Towson University, acting class and loved it, but I was a person who I felt I had to get my degree in something in an area that my parents could be proud of, not realizing, and as I got older, I'm like, you know what? I should have just followed my heart. I should have gotten my degree in theater. I just thought my parents would be like, okay with this. So I went and got my degree in health science. But I realized later, I mean, my parents at all of my plays, and they're like, this is wonderful. And little did I know, they're most proud of me when I'm doing my acting. But in Maryland, I got into some plays, and when my kids were really little, I'd be dragging them to rehearsal. And my husband would meet up with me at the rehearsals to drag the kids off or whatever. But out in DC, industrial films are really big. So I did a lot of industrial films, things like that. When we moved to North Carolina back in 2000.
She froze.
I got a teaching job in North Carolina, and that's when I began my teaching. And I teach 8th grade science. And all of my friends in DC would, whenever we talked, they would say, so what are you doing in North Carolina? Oh, I'm teaching. No, what are you doing in North Carolina? They're like, what projects are you doing?
Right.
And I haven't gotten back in it. And they're like, girl, make sure you're doing your thing.
Yep.
And it wasn't until, I think, 2012, maybe 13, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go and audition. So I auditioned for Raleigh Little Theater for the piano lesson. And I got a call back for it. And I was so excited because I was like, okay, this is my first time auditioning since who knows how long. So I was so happy for that, but I didn't get the part. And then the following year, I auditioned for A Piece of My Heart, and I got the role. I was really surprised. I got the role for that, and then I got involved with other theater companies, Agape. That's where I feel like I really met my people, Yeah. Amen Corner, oh my gosh. And Tara's so wonderful. Tara is an old soul. You would not, if you didn't see her, you would not know she is as young as she is.
Right.
She's an old soul, and she will scare you. She threatened us in Amen Corner. Josh, you remember when we had a rehearsal? I think it was our first off-book rehearsal. And she said, you know what? I want you all to say your lines, and there's no waiting for reactions. We're just going to say these lines, and we're like,
speed through.
first day off book. And she was like, I better not hear any hesitation.
I love it.
To be like, oh. And she was scaring me. But but I so love working with Tara and Mr. Hinton. I can't say Kenneth. I can't
You
say
can say Kenneth. You can say
I
Kenneth.
Mr. Hinton.
Yeah, I know that's because I'm a teacher. But listen, I want to. We got a couple more questions for all of you, and one of them is, what are you doing during this time of COVID? Are you working on new projects, or are you writing, or like Tara was saying, she's working on a film? So this is, anybody can just jump in there and tell us what you're doing.
You know, with COVID, like I said, I'm a teacher, and it was so hard continuing as a teacher with the students. I had students calling me saying, can we get online and talk? Because they needed to have that interaction. And so one thing that this has done for me is I've been doing a lot of reflecting.
Yes.
And trying to be quiet.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of writing myself.
I try to get up, be one of the first people in my house to, I try to, I'm an early riser, so I will naturally wake up like at 5 in the morning. Nobody else in my house does this. So that's my time to be by myself. Oh, and can I mention, I have 3 generations under my roof right now.
Okay. All right.
So people know them that we're doing this are like, is everybody okay? No one has been killed. Oh my gosh, 3 generations, and everybody has their opinion, and so it's nice to have that quiet time, and I'll go out on my deck and just sit with a cup of tea and just sit and stare at the trees. Yeah, so nice.
Anybody doing any creative things?
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm creating designs in my business, PamelaBond.com.
I saw some of them. They're nice.
Come on now.
Yeah, so I am creating and designing face masks and clothing.
Okay.
So yeah, and because we can no longer get to my office, which is at the university, I have moved everything to my garage unit. And so I get up like you, Jackie. I get up early in the morning because you got to get into the garage and do some work before the sun really comes up, because then it gets too hot out there. But I have people passing by, so I get all of my customers now are walking their dogs, and I know all of their dogs' names. And I'm getting costumes. One lady left me a mink coat last week, so. Yeah, I'm getting mink coats and sequin dresses and everything.
Wow.
So yeah, we're still creating and still collecting for the costume department.
And we'll accept any donations that you have.
Yes.
I have a lot of stuff for you, Pam.
Okay. Yeah. Is it stage worthy?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
One, I keep thinking about that play I saw you in that trailer. That thing still haunts me, man. The one downtown Raleigh.
The container.
The container.
You were playing Grim Reaper or somebody.
That was
more things like that.
Dark. It was quite dark. I played I was kind of a villain in that. But right now, I have done sound design for 2 plays since COVID.
Okay.
And I'm currently in 3 plays right now. Wonderful COVID, because hey, as long as you can put your script right here in front of you, right below the camera, you ain't got to learn no lines. You just need to know what you need to say next, and you scroll like it's on a prompter. So I can do 3 plays all at one time. So I'm still working, and it's kind of shocking because I thought with this, I was like, oh yeah, well, I won't be doing theater until next year. And then shameless plug, RD on Stage, Lauren asked me to do a panel originally dealing with all this right after George Floyd and dealing with all the racial stuff that's going on. And I came up with TORN, the name stands for Theater on Racist Negativity. And we've done 6 shows so far. Aya is one of the co-hosts. Kenneth,
I
you've been
saw
on
both
it.
of you.
Don't worry, the rest of y'all, I'm gonna get up there too. And originally I was asked to do it where it was an all Black panel. And I said I did not want to do that. I wanted it to be a mixture. And it's not about solutions. It's about knowing the diversity of everybody in this country. And I feel like conversation is where it's supposed to start. You know, I don't know how Eric was raised, and Eric doesn't know how I was raised, because there are differences there. And instead of hiding those differences and saying there are no differences, then embrace those differences and let's learn what each other does. Although it's Eric, so he probably did the same thing I did. He know music better than I do. And before you go to somebody else, because I'm tired of hearing from y'all.
What's that?
What is that?
Oh, Winston-Salem State.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
the Rams. Okay, Rams.
Tired of hearing about them doggone Eagles. I'm done. No.
Rams.
What you up to, Josh?
So I'm an introvert at heart. People that know me know that.
Please.
So I really am. I just act on stage. So when we first went into shutdown, I was like excited because I'd have to be around people for a while. And then it went on for like 3 months. And I was like, dear God, I need to be on somebody's stage doing something.
Right.
But right now I've been writing a lot more, been reading a lot more plays. I've actually been on a show entitled Native with EBZB Productions that is about race relations. And we had a lot of dates set for this year. They unfortunately were canceled. But we actually filmed the feature film version of it in January, right before everything shut down. But it's a conversation between Richard Wright and Paul Green, who was one of the founders of UNC, and it's a conversation between Richard Wright is the author of Native Son, and they turned it into a play, and Paul Green helped to write the play, and there's a conversation between the two of them, and who has the right to tell the story of Bigger Thomas. So it's a show that I've been in love with for quite some time. We're trying to get it to the area. That hasn't happened yet, but we're hoping for that once this thing passes. But I miss the stage. I miss my people. I miss you all. So I'm happy to see your faces.
Yeah. Aya, what you up to?
So currently working as a director for Pure Life Theaters Early. We were supposed to be releasing, or the show was supposed to be out in August, but we moved it out to a later date when we can actually give the show its due justice, meaning costumes and just the atmosphere of the stage, doing it virtually. But we do what we have done or have decided to do, you'll hear more about it, is do like a master class. So it'll be 10 weeks of learning from, the director's perspective, the costumer's perspective, lighting design, production, then just about the history of the show, and the history of the elements that are, and the education of the show itself. Because a lot of what is within that, the topics that are within that show are some of the things that we're dealing with now. So we are really excited about presenting that and presenting it in a way, I'm so excited, presenting it in a way where you, where it feels like it's today. So I'll say that. But yeah, that's what I'm working on with the folks at Pure Life Theater. And also, I'm one of the interviewers for TORN. So that's what I do right now.
And make sure you tell Deb Royals I said hi. And
yes,
of Pure Life, all of us we're on a panel together, actually, an anti-racial panel about theater. And so and I'm the only African American on there. Well, last week I was, but anyway, the talk continues, right?
I'm glad that you are part of that.
Thank you. Chris, and then Eric.
Oh, okay. Well, so what I've been doing since COVID was I started writing. Of course, I started on a film that it started out as a stage play, and then I had been told to convert it to a film because it was too big for the stage because there's just so much going on that you couldn't have showcased that on stage. So I converted it to a film, and then from there we decided that because there were so many unanswered questions that we broke it out into a web series, so that we're in the process of so we're in the process of preparing to shoot the pilot. And of course, when COVID hit, so a lot of that kind of got pushed back and delayed. So our focus now has just really been strengthening the story, trying to create multiple seasons so that it's not just a one and done. So that's what I've been working on now. Truly excited about that. The other thing I've worked on, I've had Be Creative for years, right? And I ended up seeing, I was actually doing a promo video because I do promo videos for like Black entrepreneurs, right? And if they need to do something with their business or whatever, they don't have a marketing budget, then, I come in and kind of help them with, a promo video, right? So I was doing this, and then of course I was wearing a shirt. I was part of a group, mom group, and I was wearing a shirt, and so they was like, "Hey, is that you?" And I'm like, "Well, no." I said, "I'm Be Creative." And so then I realized, I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. I need to have my own brand." And so I've launched my own apparel, and I'll be putting that out here real soon. It's all about creativity. So I felt like during this time period, yes, I'm doing theater, yes, I'm writing scripts and stuff like that, but also need to create a brand that I'll be able to pass on to my children later. So I figured that I would utilize what I've been given, and I create that brand. And and also I'm taking a note from Robin's book. I know how to write plays, I know how to shoot a little bit, and I can kind of get by. But I felt that if I was really going to master this and really make it something that I do, that I was going back to school. So I will be going back to school for digital cinematography to finalize that and really make it what I really want to do.
Man, we're gonna talk because I want to make a film out of one of my plays, one I co-wrote with Chris Glover, which is You Ain't My Daddy. We've been talking about doing that. Eric, you still a student, right? And you'll be graduating next year.
Yep. First, I just want to say I want to see that film as soon as you make it. You Ain't My Daddy.
Right.
That thing was bomb, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still a student. I will be graduating next year. Supposedly things are going back to normal this year. We'll see.
Yeah, we're hoping.
It's gonna be a wild ride. But since COVID, COVID really shut us all down, of course. I've just mostly been being a student, either with actual schoolwork or just studying on my own. Mostly I've just been looking at light design and some of my favorite actors, reading more books on both of the subjects. So I've been consuming more than creating.
I think everybody here will chime in with me and say the more creative and more things you know how to do is going to get you your success, because you can't just be can't just be one thing. You got to know lighting, you got to know sound, you got to know how to write, you got, and then, you can do anything you want, So when I created this show was because I used to be on radio for 20 years. I was a radio host. So I'm hoping I can, kill some time and get back into what I do most, and that is talk, right? So last thing is,
wait, I got a question. Did Robin tell us what she doing?
I was getting ready to say, Robin, did you tell us what you doing during COVID?
What is Robin doing? Robin,
I'm sorry. Thank you, Warren.
I've been doing
post.
kind of like what Jackie said. I've been watching the trees. I just been, when you're so busy doing so many different things, you get caught up with life and living that you don't have opportunity to see those things that are right in front of you. And so I've been intentional in this moment about relationships with, folks in my family, trying to appreciate them. And yes, watching the trees and clearing out the clutter in the house, getting rid of stuff. The first part of the year up through June, I was juggling teaching because I teach a high school theater course. So, and that was a challenge because like Jackie was saying, when you're teaching theater to high school students, they want to be in your face and they want to see you. And we're like touchy-feely people. We just are. So having to do Zoom classes, three days a week and to, stay on top of all the admin stuff, it was a lot. But now, because I'm not doing that now, I'm just trying to have a moment, just a moment, because we don't really have those times where we shut everything down and just be. So that's what I'm doing.
So the last question for you guys is, people who watch the show, some of them like to get into the business. Can you give us some nuggets as to some suggestions for actors who may be trying to get into the business, and let you go at anybody that want it?
Yes, you know what? To piggyback on what you said, Ken, if you want to be an actor, you need to also have it in your mind that you will definitely do other things too. One of my professors told me that if you want to be on the stage, that's possible, but you may be with a small company and you may have to do lighting, you may have to do costumes, you may have to, do all of that. So you need to be well-rounded. Don't just think that you will just act and that's it, because you have to have another, that tech piece also. So I would tell them to, yes, do the acting, but consider doing a minor also. That's what I would say.
And guys, whoever's not talking, would you mute your mic if you're not talking? Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
I would say that the one thing that I learned when I started out as acting is that there's no small roles.
Right.
Every role is a big role, whether you're in as I guess what Robin was saying, the crew, production, whatever. It's still your role and it's still part of the show. And I never forget, we had a training with Hattie Winston. She had came to the University of Louisville and did a workshop. And one of the things that I took away from that workshop, she said, I don't care if your role is to bring a glass of water onto the stage. You make sure that you are the best person ever to have brought that glass of water on stage and make it memorable. And that's kind of how, because believe it or not, directors pay attention to that small stuff. They, all the great stuff is big, but they pay attention to the little things that you do behind, that you do on stage that isn't really a talking part. I remember when we did Ragtime, and we was kind of in the back, and he was on the left, I was on the right, and I can't remember the guy, but they had this little dialogue about, he said, I blow things up, and we both kind of tilted our heads a certain kind of way or whatnot, and they got a reaction out of the audience. It wasn't really something major big, but people remembered that. And so I would just say, if anybody is going to get into the business, just understand that you're going to have to crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know something, as a director, what you just said, we really appreciate, because when I'm directing students, I got to tell them where to move. I mean, you need to get into your character to know where you're supposed to move. And nobody has to tell you every moment of your existence on stage. But anyway, don't get me, because I'll start the teaching in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, speaking as someone who did not major in theater in school, the first thing for me was don't be afraid to try. something.
Mm-hmm.
The third, Color Purple was the third thing I'd ever done. And the fifth thing I ever done was The Wiz. And when I walked into audition for The Wiz, I had 3 things on my resume. It was at Burning Coal, 3. And I was looking over people's shoulders like, oh yeah, I need to walk out now. I need to run and just keep running. These people got 2 pages of stuff. But I went in anyway and I got the part. But definitely to piggyback off what Robin said, learn something else. You don't always have to be the one on the stage. And for me, since I didn't major in this, my master class and my learning as far as theater goes is when I'm not on the stage, is when I'm sound designer, when I'm doing sound design and I watch people, because I'm doing sound design for plays that I probably wouldn't go see because I've never heard of. And so I'm involved in plays and at some of the theaters, they're bringing in equity people from New York who can, I just say, who can really act. And I'm watching them and getting to know them and learning their techniques and stuff. So if you're trying to get in, don't just think you have, well, I'll say it. Don't just think you have to go to school for it to get in, but understand that when you start getting in, it's all or nothing. You can't halfway do it. You're gonna lose some sleep. You're gonna work from 8 to 5 and then have to be at rehearsal at 6 to 10 or 10:30, 6 days a week. And you got the 10 of 12, which is the Saturday and Sunday before the play opens, where you are there for 10 to 12 hours going over your play. If you are not dedicated like that, then you might just want to buy a ticket and sit in the audience, and we'll say hey to you. So.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off Juan said, you have to love this. This is the type of atmosphere where if you don't love it, you're gonna fall by the wayside. I think a lot of actors and a lot of creatives get into business thinking that it's going to be a sprint and it's a marathon. You see the big screen, people on the big screen. You don't see the story behind them. A lot of people they think it's a Cinderella story. A lot of the actors that we see now have been in the business for 30 and 40 years. And they just had that one big thing that came out. It was like, okay, now we see you. But you have to realize that a lot of things, just something that came to my mind, the Clark Sisters movie that just came out earlier this year, Ingenue Ellis is getting a lot of praise for her role in that, playing Maddie Marsh Clark. But she's been doing things way
Sister
back
girl.
since when? Yeah, so she's been in the business for a minute. So I think you have to have that love, you have to have that passion. Because if you're not giving it your all, it's going to show. And I know for me, even having majored in acting, I'm still a student. I get on stage with people like this cast. I love ensemble casts like this, where there's like no one lead actor, where everyone is contributing equally, because it's class to me. Because what the energy that Jackie brings, or the energy that Robin brings, energy that Juan or Chris are bringing, I have to respond to that in character, and it's not the same every night. As we know, it's never the same every night. So if you're so strict and structured to one thing, I don't want to say you're going to fail, but it's going to be difficult for you. You're going to have to be able to know who you are as a person, and then know who you are as an actor.
Yeah. So, anybody?
You know what? I wanted to
Go
talk
ahead.
about
Go ahead,
how, as an actor, if you're someone, you want to be on stage or you want to be in front of the camera.
You got the
like so many of you have said, you're not going to always have that chance to be the actor. You might have to do some other role. In Maryland, there was the Potomac Playhouse. I remember I went to an audition, and this is before people would cast like biracial couples for roles. So this is way before people started doing that. And so, Potomac, Maryland, one of the richest cities in the world. I went to the audition and there was no other Blacks. So immediately I said, oh, I won't be casted for this because they're not going to cast me. It was, oh, I forget the name of the play, but it was a comedy about it was three couples having a dinner party. And so I got the call from the producer saying, oh, Jackie, we didn't cast you for the role, any of the roles, but would you be a stage manager? And I told my husband when I got home, I said, I didn't get this. I know I didn't, because they're not going to cast me as somebody's wife or whatever. And so I was like, okay, I've never staged, I've never managed before, and this will be a learning experience. And I did. And it gave me such an opportunity to watch the different actors and just the whole process throughout rehearsal, how the characters evolving. And because I was a stage manager, I knew all the lines. So a week before, the producer said, hey, one of the characters cannot perform a particular weekend. Would you play the part of Cookie, one of the wives? I was like, okay, that'll be great. And did the performance. My husband happened to be sitting beside the director of the show. And he said, you know, the director turned to me and said, when he found out I was your husband, he said, I'm not going to tell anybody else this, but I should have casted your wife for that role. And I was like, this is wonderful. But the thing was, I don't think anyone really cared that, oh, look, his wife is Black. It's one of those things where, you know, in theater, you know, now people don't give it a thought. Yeah, you go based on the actor, the chemistry, but back then, and this was like in the 80s, I think, that was a big deal. And I think it helped that company to see, you know what, it was a fun show. Nobody was looking at it like, okay, they're white, she's Black, or whatever. And everybody had a good time. But what I got from it was the fact that I really enjoyed stage managing and really watching all of the actors and the choices that they made and all of that. But it's a lot of fun when you're doing behind the scenes work. I so admire Juan for the work that he does. I've seen him work his magic.
Oh yeah, he works his magic.
Oh my God. Everybody will be like, well, we don't know what we're gonna do about blah, blah. Juan's like, I got this. Exactly what we need to do. He's like magic.
Yep. So, anybody else? Well, this has been a great talk, y'all, and I really enjoyed y'all. Hopefully, you know, when I play this back, not hopefully, but I'm going to put the little the highlight reel in front of this so that everybody get to see y'all act, and who didn't get to see the little scenes from the Dance on With Us Raw. And next Sunday on Theater Talk Live, I have two playwrights that you probably know, Howard Kraft and Mike Wilder are going to be my guests next.
Wow, cool.
Oh man!
And so both of them
They're phenomenal.
My dear friends, and we're going to talk to them. And both of them, I think, award-winning, as I think. Yes, sir.
Hey, so, I just want to toot this young man's horn. Eric, our stage manager, he was everything. He was the stage manager. He was the ASM. He was all of it. And for those of y'all watching, everything, all the antics you see going on right now was the antics Eric had to deal with. So Eric would have to set up our props before the show. He would have to make sure.
He's looking at the script like, what?
Right. Where you at now?
Because we might put it in line anywhere. And he also wasn't just a stage manager. He ran the sound. He ran the lights.
Sure did.
All. And he became family to us. So that's why I was like, yeah, you got to be on this thing. He Bravo. And
Hey, he kicked me out from upstairs because I was up there trying to help him, but he didn't need me.
Right. So
yeah. Thank you.
Good job, everybody. Though it was a pleasure to work with all of you, and you know, God has put something together when everything just works like clock. There's no really major problem, and the fact that Pam walked in, y'all greeted her like, oh my God, this was it was magical, and hopefully we'll do this again soon. And I wish all of you the best on stage and off stage. And like, I'll see Pam and Aya a lot because they work with me over at Central. Thank you again, and good luck to all of you. And this has been theater.
I work at Central. I am a Temple University alum. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You're a Temple.
New York University alum. I graduated from New York. Also.
Okay, everybody's getting there. UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. Okay. But anyway, thank you all for being here. And we'll see you.
What?
Gauchos. That's right.
Okay.
All right, we'll see y'all next week on Theater Talk Live. Thank you. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
See ya. Miss you guys.
Love you.
Thank you guys so much.
Take care.
see y'all.
Bye.
Gal